The guy end up paying 50K, 100K, and he has something that is not usable, not marketable.
Richard Abi-Chahla is a four-time founder, fractional CPO who turns bold ideas into market-shaping products. With 18 plus years of experience across 15 industries, he has launched everything from apps featured at Web Summit to soil platforms, backed by Norad and Yara Norway. He is the founder of Purple Brains, and through Purple Brains, he has led 50 plus initiatives worldwide, blending strategy, execution, and vision to help teams build the future.
We are managers of nothing, yet people expect us to make all the decisions related to the product. We need to inspire them to perform. We need to make sure they are aligned with us, with the vision, and they are motivated to be able to perform.
Ahlan wa sahlan bikum fi the executives, Richard.
Thank you, Majid. Ahla feek.
And I'm grateful to you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for hosting me.
I mean, I wish I could say, normally I'm always telling the guests that it's my first time I spoke the language, but with Arabic, it's not the first time. So I have lived in Saudi, so I have spoken a bit of Arabic, I mean, even though now, if you ask me what's my Arabic, it starts with Assalamu alaikum, ala tul, yalla ma salama. That's my Arabic now. I've forgotten most of the things, but before we dive into the whole episode, I would like to give you the stage so you can actually tell about who is Richard.
I am a product manager and a tech entrepreneur. I have worked on 4 different products internally, and I have worked on more than 50 products for different clients in a fractional format. I founded Purple Brains in 2011, and since then we've been having 2 tracks. The first one is building our own products, and the second one is helping others build their products.
What is Purple Brains? Let's get like on a very ground level, so to say, to a 10-year-old.
You have an idea for a tech product mainly, and you don't know, you are overwhelmed with the amount of things you need to do, and you are anxious if this is going to work or not. You're trying to estimate the risk and the opportunity cost. So we can intervene to take any founder, even a 10 years old, in a very step-by-step clear framework for them to start minimizing risk, minimizing the resources they are going to use, and having the maximum chances of success.
Normally, when anyone comes to you, right? Because I know product people and generally who do service like product management consulting, they don't work with everyone, right? They let's say they pick as well. Like, I mean, I have had multiple times when I said no. Did you also had moments where you said like, no, I'm not going to work with you?
Yeah, I've had that multiple times. On our website, we have a free 40 minutes consulting. And this is from one side to allow us to help any founders who cannot afford to hire us full time. So we are able to help them by giving them free advice. But on the other side, this is our way to understand if that founder is coachable, if he is able to receive feedback and to implement it, and if the idea is interesting. We try always to intervene in ideas that where the founder has knowledge of the sector he is operating in, because this is very important. And we try at the beginning to make sure that the idea has the 3 main pillars, or we think it has the 3 main pillars for any idea to succeed, which is being desirable, being feasible with the people and the technology, and being viable as a business. And based on that, we decide if we're going to move forward with the project or if we're going to give them free advisory. Sometimes it can go up to 2 hours for free. Like we're just sitting like this and speaking to each other, if we have the time, of course. And we just tell them, look, we don't think this is a project for us. We already told you that we don't think it has a big chance of success. We advise you not to proceed with it, and we hope and wish you good luck.
Mm. Because you mentioned not to proceed with something, right? I just had a funny thing that I remembered that I saw yesterday, and you're from Lebanon, so I'm gonna ask you because I was I was really confused. I'm not gonna lie. I saw the video on TikTok and I got super confused, and I sent it to my friends from all my friends from Syria, Lebanon. I was like, What? I saw a guy in, I think it was Canada or something. So he took a shawarma.
Okay.
He didn't put ketchup on there. He's against putting ketchup on there, right?
Okay. That's the
He put
first.
blueberry jam on there.
Oh.
What do you
Okay.
think?
Was it chicken or meat?
It was chicken.
Okay. With chicken, we put some kind of sweetener, but not blueberry jam, because with the chicken you have the garlic paste, and the chicken is a little bit spicy. So we put molasses on it, grapes molasses, and it gives it some kind of umami taste. But the jam is too sweet. I don't
I
think
know,
it
I
will
know.
work
I
with the
saw it.
jam.
I was like, I mean, whenever I go to the shawarma shops in Berlin, I tell them, I mean, here they cater to, like, the shawarma is not the real shawarma. It's like
You
catered
have
to
the
the,
doner, the Turkish shawarma, the
no, no,
doner
the
one.
actual, like, Arab shawarma as well. You can find that in the
Ah, okay,
bread, Saj bread, right? I think it's called.
okay,
Um, but I tell them I want the real shawarma, and they suddenly, oh, okay, that means no salad, nothing. Otherwise, they're filling in onions and so on and so on. I'm like, no, I want the real deal, no. And then on top they put the thum. Uh,
yeah.
but that
It's
was
our
just a fun,
hamburger. It's the Lebanese hamburger. The shawarma is the Lebanese hamburger.
and it tastes good. I mean, it's a good food. I mean, you can
Yeah.
just grab it on the go, right? So this was something I saw, and I wanted to like somehow connect it to that. But now coming back to you, because you grew up in Lebanon, and you have
Yes.
been working with international clients across multiple continents. And Lebanon is a multilingual background, right? So,
Hmm.
how has your Lebanese heritage and multilingual background shaped your approach to understanding user pain points and creating solutions that actually resonate with sort of different customers and also cultures?
Yeah. Being multilingual helped a lot. I'm able to work with clients that speak Arabic, French, and English. This definitely broke the language barrier. Living in Lebanon, we practically have problems all over the place. We have a very weak, at this moment, we have a very weak infrastructure. Hopefully, things are going to get better soon. We're hopeful. And we need to have redundancy on everything that we have. Like, for example, now I have three different internet connections. I have a fiber optic one, I have the 4G mobile one, and I have another DSL one because and I constantly switch between them because one of them is bad, the other is better. So we do need redundancy for everything, and we do need to come up with solutions to get ourselves going. We have been dealt a really bad hand in the past 5 years since 2019, and we've had a lot of things that could easily stop anyone from another country who hasn't been through the background and through the history that we've been through. And we kept on finding solutions and turnarounds to keep on working, to keep on living, to keep on sending our kids to school, traveling, doing receiving people to do tourism. So, yeah, anyway, this helps you think outside of the box and not in the conventional manners to be able to keep yourself going first. So, we are, I guess, every Lebanese is in a way a product manager of his own house, his own life, probably.
Mhm. Um, aren't we all? Aren't we all of our own lives? I mean, we take decisions. Some decisions are good, some are, you know. I was just having a discussion with someone, and he said to me, Majid, but your destiny is already written, right? I'm like, yes, but you're the one who implements the strategy. You are the product manager. I mean, the
Yeah.
roadmap might have been written like ages ago or whatever you believe so, but at the end of the day, someone pushes the roadmap forward. I'm like, it's the same because the guy was a developer, so
Yeah.
he was trying to argue with me on the fact that Majid, if you get sick, it's because you didn't take care of this and this and this. I was like, if
Hmm.
something is written in my destiny, I cannot change it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
can say that if I didn't do this, then this. But
User story.
exactly. But I was like, I said to him that when I got COVID, the doctor said to me, Majid, you just needed to come in contact with someone who had COVID for 2 seconds, and that's it. Game over.
Hmm.
So he said, and the thing is, if someone just took the mask down and like sneezed in the supermarket and had touched the shopping trolley, and you
Hmm.
touched it, most likely you might even get it. So because that time it was very intense, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know how true is that, but I
It
mean,
was
if you're
it was a horror movie at the beginning, like beginning 2020. It was a horror movie. I remember we barricaded in our houses for like 45 days, trying to figure out what's happening. We used to go to the supermarket and we used to practically have a shower with alcohol before going into the house, and like wash all the items. But yeah, now it became a common flu, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I remember like when I got it, it was like I had to, because I couldn't breathe, so I called the ambulance up, and it was like the
Hmm.
early time, no vaccine, nothing. So June 2020, and
Uh-huh.
it was so early, When I called them, I remember like tall people wearing these white like alien suits came in, like put like a mask, gave me like something to wear, and took me, and it was weird, but yeah. I mean, I'm happy the world is a little bit like, I mean, we still have problems, like a lot of problems. I think we get rid of all the problems. Like, I really hope we live in a peaceful and a world without problems. I really hope so. So,
Yeah, I don't think it would be exciting. It would be very fair for a lot of people having a world without problems, but it wouldn't be exciting not having problems. Like it's the problems that make the good days look good.
that's
What would
also
you do if
true. I mean,
having all good days?
that's also true. But I hope the problems we have now, I really hope some of them get like finished, because it's just like it's sad to see what's happening.
Yeah.
But coming back to the topic, you have been building Purple Brain since 2011, and you were quite young. I mean, you're still young, but
The
what?
white hair.
It's okay. We ignore it. I mean, otherwise, if we start talking, look, I'm white hair as well, so can't say anything. But uh, what was like the moment or experience that made you realize you wanted to dedicate your startup towards helping businesses create customer centric digital
Mhm.
products?
So the early days of my career, and especially that I doubled with the university I was working, I always had a problem dealing with my superiors when it comes to places where we did not agree together. I take ownership of anything I do. In my early days, I was a receptionist at a hotel, and I had the afternoon night shift. And I always felt like the mood needs to change because the crowd is changing at night. So I used to dim the lights, raise the music a little bit in the lobby, make people feel that it's a vibe. There's a vibe going on. The my managers didn't like that. Like you need to keep a professional manner. Don't turn it into a nightclub or a pub. And with those small things, I really felt like either I need to not take ownership of whatever I do, and this is not within my personality. I will be not good in my own skin, or I need to make sure that whatever I do, I have a say in it. At least I have a say to give my opinion and to defend it until I'm convinced that probably this is not the best opinion. And what played a big role in me switching to my own company is whenever I was working for a pharmaceutical company and I was building for them a pharma CRM, and I traveled to Kolkata twice to build that. There is a mentality back then, now it's changing fast, that I'm the boss, I tell you what you do, even if you are the matter expert. Like, I know what I'm asking you. And they started asking all kind of things that I didn't feel that they are optimal for the product we're building. It's not enhancing productivity. They are much more monitoring the sales reps instead of giving them the space, while giving them KPIs to meet instead of making sure they left the house at 8 a.m. And because they were finding turnarounds around those. And they were making it seem like they started working at 8, although they are still in their beds probably. or having coffee near the hospitals with their friends. Um, so I decide, and technology back then was not a main pillar of business. It was something really nice that we get whenever business is going well. While for me, I could see how it is optimizing the process, what's the return on investing in technology. So I couldn't really understand and convince them of the things I wanted to develop in the product and why we need to develop those. Although I treated my employers as clients. So I used to give them report based on my research. You should do that. The outcome should be this. Expected the savings in dollars should be this, etc. But they never read that. I knew, like after many times doing that, the last couple of months being in that pharmaceutical manufacturer, that they never read those reports. So we had a small argument, and I said, "All right, I don't see us aligning anymore. I'm leaving." They said, "Did you find another job?" They said, "Not really. I'm going to find one now." And instead of finding a job, I created my own job. So I created Purple Brains because I had an idea, an electronic medical records for doctors' clinics. And back then, there was a lot of people, med reps, coming to me asking me, well, this doctor asked for advice, which electronic medical records he needs to use. So I had researched the area, and I noticed that all the good ones are web based, and the internet in Lebanon back then was super slow. Like the common one was 128 bits per second, and not even megabits, bits per second, kilobits per second, sorry. And that was, if you would open a radio, like an X ray image, it would need 1 minute to load back then. So I partnered up with a Romanian developer house to build a Windows-based electronic medical records, and this is how I started. I started my first startup. Now we needed to. We had I had a lot of experience in the ERP CRM field, and in that phase, a digital transformation started happening in the market in Lebanon and in the Middle East, where companies had different clusters of solutions, one for the HR, and that is not speaking with the accounting, that's not speaking with the finance, that's not speaking with the warehouse. Probably they had Excel sheets for their warehouse, and they wanted to implement one unified ERP system. So we started doing that as a project product manager. So they would come to us saying, we want a unified ERP. We would research their business requirements. We would research the existing solutions, negotiate on their behalf with those solutions, and help them with the customization, implementation, and configuration of their solution. So this is how Purple Brain started.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, interesting. I mean, now you have a team, right, of people who are working together with you.
We are still a boutique agency, so we are a team of three, four, and we rely on
Oh.
contractors whenever we need a UX UI designer, developers. We rely on contractors.
But these three, four people are core, always there.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Cool, cool, cool. That's interesting. That's interesting. And
Actually,
because
at
Purple, yeah.
Purple Brains, we make sure I am hands-on on all the projects, and the other three people are people who make sure that they keep me on context on different projects, and they make sure that the small tasks that do not require me interfering, they do them, and then I review them. So practically, it is still resolving around me as a product manager because I'm an individual contributor product manager, and in product management, there is the science, of course, but it's not just science. There is the previous experience, there is the gut feeling, there is the perception of things, and you need to be like I was speaking yesterday with a friend. We are in a very difficult situation as product managers. We are managers of nothing, yet people expect us to make all the decisions related to the product. And we need to make sure that everyone is performing, although no one is reporting to us. We need to inspire them to perform. We need to make sure they are aligned with us, with the vision, and they are motivated to be able to perform. But if you want to tell them you did wrong, you need to work extra hours, or I don't know, there's some kind of penalty for such behavior, or we need to fire you, we cannot do that. They report to other people. All we can do is in the performance report afterwards put our opinion related to that. So
Mm-hmm.
we are in a very difficult situation where there's a lot of leadership skills involved. There's a lot of perception. There's a lot of gut feeling, previous experience that goes into that, because we need to make decisions on uncertainties, and we need to inspire people that we don't manage. So not anyone can do that. This is why you have a lot of product managers, but very few are able to move products from idea to launch or from launch to growth, while keeping synergy within the team and keeping like a well-oiled machine working behind the product.
Mm-hmm. That's very true, because I have seen different kinds of product managers, So, and this is whenever I hire a senior PM, I ask them, what kind of PM are you? And sometimes I get like, huh? I can do everything what a product manager can do. I'm like, okay, can you help me scale this from 2 million to 50 million? No, I've never done it. I'm like, so you don't know what's a PM of growth. But then when you ask them, hey, can you build this? Like, yes, we can. Yes, that I know. The front part, like the user interface and so on, or the backend part.
Yeah,
And if you, for example, hire someone who's brilliant with UX, might be extremely bad with building an API product. And
yeah,
we have API products, right? So it's very important for the PMs also out there to understand what is their strong foot, because then you become like exceptionally good there as well, right?
yeah.
And now 2025, we are talking, Purple Brains has been your baby for a little over 14 years, more or less, right? um, and you have this approach where you minimize resources while reducing the risk when helping businesses achieve a product market fit.
Mhm.
What does this actually look like in practice? So let's say I'm a customer and you're helping me
Yeah.
achieve this PMF.
As let's say you are a founder or someone managing an SMB or a department in an enterprise, you have in your head an image of the end product, how you want it to be. And people think that whenever they hire a product manager, he will tell them, yes, this is exactly what we will build. And the first launch, we will launch it. This is exactly what it would be. And this is the problem that happens whenever a founder or an executive goes directly to a development house. A development house, they sell development mandates and hours. So if you come to them even with a small scope, they will give you more ideas to make it larger, because they need to earn their living, like they need to increase the bill. Um, Whenever you go to a product manager, and specifically whenever you come to Purple Brains, we try to trim down the product as much as possible. And we try to take the minimum number of, because whenever you take an assumption, you increase your risk. Whenever you have something validated and your actual users asked you to do it while testing your own product in the same setup you want to launch your product, this is something that has low risk. So by building the minimum that is based on assumptions and directly testing it with users, and now with AI, this is much faster, much
Mm.
much much faster. So we are able to trim down a 9 month journey to a year journey to launch the MVP to 3 to 4 months now. And sometimes, in some subjects, we're able to trim it down to 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Um, and it depends also how reactive is the founder and how fast they are responsive to feedback and they are getting the answers and so forth. So when building a product, we use the minimum effort on assumptions. We put the minimum effort on assumptions and we take them directly to the end user to make sure that they are willing to use it and they are willing to pay for it. And we make sure to identify the user that is facing the biggest problem out of the thing we are solving, and we make sure that we don't launch the product whenever the MVP is ready. It's not for everyone. An MVP is meant to be for really early adopters and innovators. Founders and companies always want to launch for the early majority, while this shouldn't be the case, because even if you have minimized your risk and built based on some feedback that you received, whenever you go to the early majority, there's a lot of technical problem, there's a lot of behavioral problem on the user side, there's a lot of diversity of devices and platforms that people are using your solution on, and problems will start getting to you really fast. So I make sure that I keep them within the guards of the early adopters to have those problems, but on a smaller scale, and find solutions for them and then launch to the early majority. This sometimes is really hard for founders who are really excited to see their product out there, or for managers that are reporting to their CEOs and they want to go to them with shining numbers. But this hurts the product. So we make sure to, this is kind of a rope pulling contest where we are always pulling towards less features, less users in the early days, and they are pulling towards more features, more expansion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, now we are seeing these interesting uh, cases, right? Where, for example, Lovable, very strong example, grew from zero to I think they did like 100 million, right, or something, ARR within 7 months of
Yeah.
which is insane. Which is insane. I mean, it's getting more and more interesting. Also, like now people are building platforms on top of Lovable where they are making it's not 100 million, but they are doing like $250,000 ARR or something, and it's you just realize it's a husband wife, or it's just one person and someone else helping them.
In the case of Lovable, probably they grew that fast. But if you look at Replit has been, I'm not sure of the exact year, but they have been building it even pre-COVID area, and it has been a tool for developers. And Replit, in my opinion, Replit is the best platform out there now for in that vertical for prompting to receive code
Mm,
for non-technical users. And they have been building that for so long. On the other hand, you see Lovable and Base 44 who built in 4 to 7, 8 months, and Base 44 even exited. He sold the company. So you have both ends, but I guess the ones that have a base, if you compare Lovable and Replit, you can build a more robust platform with Replit because it has a
okay.
better foundation. Now, sometimes you can get lucky. Uh, I'm sure the guys are really clever, but sometimes because someone did the experiment before you, you can leverage on their learning and build something on top of it. While people who are very early to the market, they have to do the experiments themselves. There's a lot of cases where people are building a Me Too product, and we see what happened in other markets with other tools, and we try to verify it in our market and build it. Of course, this makes things faster, but still it's risky because the user changed and their needs changed and their circumstances changed. So you need to be aware of that.
Mm, true. I
I'm,
think the
I'm
culture
sure that
element.
there's a lot
Mm,
of people that build things, try to build things like Lovable and Base 44, but we only know the success stories.
mm, mm. And also, I think the cultural element goes behind, right? So, if I, for example, launch a product that works in Germany, and I'm from Pakistan, so even if I launch it in Pakistan, there might be a chance it will fail. And if I launch the same product in Lebanon without doing the cultural due diligence, there is a higher probability that it's going to definitely fail, because I don't
Yeah,
know the circumstances of the people. I don't know the buying power. I don't know the payment methods. I don't know, is it really a burning problem for the people? Because that's one of the questions I always ask. Is it really a burning problem for the customer?
yeah.
Um, if not, then why are you building this? What's the whole point behind this? If you're building this for the sake of, like, let's build a product because it solves my problem. Cool, that's then it's an internal tool for you, which is
Hmm.
also normal, right? Which is normal, fine. But if you're trying to build an internal tool and then trying to say that, hey, you know what, now I want to build a SaaS around it, it doesn't work that way. I remember I once had a client from a regulated market, US based guy, super nice, super nice. I mean, he wanted to build an internal tool, right?
Hmm.
We helped him build it. Took us because he was very clear what he wanted. So he wanted to get rid of like the 10 tools he was using, put everything together, a lot of automations and so on. We did it. Took us like 2 months. It was not super complex. So
Hmm.
launched everything happy because the whole audience was only going to be 8 people who would use the product. Only 8.
Okay.
Plus the customers, at average he was getting like 40 to 50 customers a week. So it's 2 3,000 customers. And then he once we launched and he was happy, and then his friends saw the platform who was also from the same field. Oh yeah, can I also buy it? And then he came to Majid, can I convert it into a SaaS? I'm like, do you really want to do that? Do you see the value? Oh yeah, Majid, look at this. And those days, I don't remember. It was like another big company raised like billions or something. It was like last year. I don't remember which news it was, but raised billions at billions of valuation. He was like, but I can do this, right? I was like, let's address the whole scenario, right? So I asked him, how many like people, experts of your field exist in yours? He said, yeah, maybe like 1,000. I was like, okay.
Hmm.
And how much do you think they will pay you monthly? Like, maybe $300, $300. So I said, just do the math. 300 into 1,000 is $300,000 a month, which is not bad. 3.6 million. I'm like, but that's the revenue. You
Yeah,
need to
and
have
that's the
staff
peak of it.
20. Yeah, exactly. I
If you
said
get
you
the whole
need
market.
to. Yeah, if you get the whole market, that's also true. I'm like, the first thing is what you're doing is you're actually giving your competitors, here you go. Why don't you take my customer as well? I mean, because from one customer, he was making like 10,000, $15,000. I was like,
Hmm.
you want to make $3,600 from your competitor, who can then make the same 10,000 from each customer, right? I was like, and an exit acquisition might happen, but I don't think so that would happen, because the other companies that are in your space, they are really really giants. They have their own
Hmm.
complex system. They have like tax advisors and legal teams, huge teams, right? So it like I explained to him, and luckily he understood, because like I also told him the story of you need 24/7 monitoring. If you cannot
Yeah.
monitor, because if Richard is my customer and Richard has a problem at 2 a.m. because he works at 2 a.m. in the night, it's a problem for me. I need to solve it, because Richard is paying me money to use the platform. Now Richard uses at
Yeah.
6 a.m., 2 a.m., 10 a.m., doesn't matter. The platform needs to be running
You
at.
cannot, in a SaaS, you cannot shut down the doors and say, this is outside office hours.
Exactly. You're like, yalla maslama. But I mean, the whole thing, like the whole what you also explained, is connected with like discovering market gaps, right? I mean, and I think that's the biggest challenge that I feel is for people, even experts, right, of fields, that what is really the market gap, and like how do you validate that, validate that if this idea or this gap is good enough that I need to push. So I have two questions on this. The first one is, if let's say a founder or someone has like is an expert on a field, so how do they address this? Like how do they find these market gaps, and how can they do quick validation before they even reach out to Richard, right? Because it's not like Richard wants to have like 50 meetings in a week,
Hmm.
and all of them don't even know, or half of them or 80% of them don't even know, okay, how do I find these market problems? But if they did some sort of due diligence and came to Richard, that, hey, Richard, can you help me with this thing? I'm planning to do this. It sort
Yeah.
of helps the whole baseline, right? So the first question is around this market gap for people who are trying to do something.
So the first part, this is why it's really important to have the founder who's building something in the field that they understand, because they have experiences, they have already spoken to a lot of people in that business, and they have the basic understanding of how things work and what are the potential problems or shortcomings and what's the weight of those problems. Is it really painful to the point it's making me lose money? It's making me sick. It's making me extremely uncomfortable. It's making me, um, I don't know, not get to work on time and with the chance of being fired and so forth, or not serving enough customers, or it is something that I'm getting by and it's fine. It's a little bit annoying, but yeah, it's nice if we don't have this problem, but while we're getting by with it. So then they understand.
Mm.
Whenever they come, I the first step is we do like a 1 hour meeting, and I explain to them the lean canvas, and I tell them to go and fill out the lean canvas, and this pushes them to go and look for answers before I ask for those answers. Because the lean canvas takes them through the journey of thinking of every part of the business. And although some of them put answers there that is suitable for whatever they want to build, that are not really genuine to whatever is happening in reality, but at least it gets them to start thinking of all the questions I want to ask. And in case I ask and I try to push back, they have some answers to give me in order to be able to. So there's a thumb up. Someone's approving. There is. They have some answers regarding what I'm going to ask. So this is the first step of making sure that we're solving something meaningful, being expert in that field or having someone with them on the team that is expert in that field, and um, starting by filling the lean canvas and understanding how to fill it, because this will let them think of all the aspects of the business. And also I ask them to go and think of the three pillars, which is desirability, viability, and feasibility, and I explain that to them, and I tell them, give me your riskiest assumption. And our second startup, we made the mistake of not validating our riskiest assumption. We thought we validated that because early on we spoke to our ideal customer that is paying high tickets and that is using will be using the our platform the most. But then because he wasn't or they weren't very accessible, we started talking with the smaller customers that would be using our platform once or twice a year and not paying as much. Whenever we launched and we went to those big guys, they said, whoa, this is not how I wanted this solution to look like. So I make sure to ask them to identify their riskiest assumptions. And we start by validating that. And I tell them to start thinking how we can reach and validate this riskiest assumption and make sure that it's not going to stop us anytime soon.
This is for the people who are trying to come to Richard, to what kind of research should they do, what where they should look for, right? But now they want someone like Richard, and they reached out. They sort of booked the meeting and so on. How do you help them? Like how do you help them? Like say that okay, this is a good market gap, or you get information from them before, or it's just like the first meeting and then you do your own due diligence. Like how would that work? So trying to understand the process of how it goes from there.
Usually, the meeting they book online. We don't do any pre-work before that because there's a lot of cases where it's a meeting to get to know other people, to get introduced to them. And although in our calendar invitation, we ask them to define the topic we're going to discuss during that meeting, but a lot of people don't do that, and we're okay with it.
Mm.
I give them 10 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to give me a lay of the ground. And then we start by prompting and asking some of the questions for us to have the full knowledge, especially if it's a new vertical that we haven't worked any product in before. After we're done with this full initial 30, 40 minutes meeting, we tell them, okay, if you wish us to work with you, so we have three different packages of 10 hours per month, 20 hours per month, and 40 hours per month. And it depends on the stage and on the size of the problem, the size of the team they have, and so forth. And we can do the roles of product manager, scrum master, and product owner, and sometimes project manager as well. So we can take a big part of operation and managing the product and the operation for them. So we tell them, okay, give us a couple of days and we will come back with more questions and we will come back with a decision if we are able to work with you or not. First, we have to check our availability because, as I said, we are a boutique agency. We can only fill 200 hours per week. So we need to see if we have enough capacity to take a project. And we need to make sure if the founder is coachable, we are able to positively contribute to the idea because I don't want to take projects that I end up not being valuable to and they end up not succeeding. I really want to, as I said, I take ownership. I want those products to really succeed. And we need to make sure that we are able to help them succeed because sometimes we would be the problem for them not to succeed. So we do our research and we get back to them, and this is how we can start helping.
I mean, as a product manager, right? We both come from a similar domain, so we have those awesome clients, which is a dream. Like the unicorn of customers. So, would love to hear from you. What is the unicorn of a customer in your opinion? Like, who's the best customer?
The unicorn customer is the customer that understands that he hired you because you have a certain expertise. And whenever you have a disagreement, if this is within your expertise, he gives you the benefit of the doubt to experiment in that area. And we understand that, for example, we've been working in agriculture for the past 4 years. Whenever we were discussing any idea with the director of that project, whenever we reached a place where we are not aligned perfectly, we agreed together that if this is within the technology and product, if this is within the technology, the last word is for the CTO. If this is within the product and the roadmap and what we build first and how things should look like, we have the final word. If this is within the process of agriculture and soil science and so forth, you have the final. And we didn't have any blockage, and they were comfortable with that because some customer at the beginning say, yeah, we're okay with that, but whenever you reach that point where they need to say, okay, I'm not fully aligned with this, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, go ahead and do it, you convinced me with your arguments, they are not comfortable saying that, so they keep pushing back. And whenever, because sometimes it turns out that our assumptions were not 100% correct and we need to readjust our roadmap, because even though we took the decision, we can say after a couple of weeks, guys, you were right, this wasn't the best decision, users are not reacting the way we want, let's adjust our course to go there, because now we know how the users are reacting to this, we are able to make the right decision. If we were at a disagreement at the beginning, some customers would come and say, well, you costed me 2-3 weeks of work, who's going to reimburse me for that? Well, you know the game. Back then, we took the best decision based on the knowledge that we've had. Now we have more knowledge. We are able not to keep you dragging throughout the same course. We stopped it, we limited the damage, and we adjusted course. So if they constantly come back to blame us for something that happened where we needed to adjust course, that means they don't understand the actual work we're doing. So we just like ask them, probably this is not the best fit for you, and we need to take a step back. We need to move on from this project. So this is one of the times that we stop working on projects and we ask the founders or the managers inside enterprises to choose someone else. And we do a complete handover with no hard feelings. Like, you cannot always work with everyone.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. I mean, also like after a certain point, like when you gain enough experience, right, you're able to understand that when you go in the first meeting, you immediately think, oh, no, this did the psychology, the connection is not working. My biggest learning from product management is, like you beautifully said about leadership skills. You don't manage the budgets of the people, but you have to like motivate them that they continue working and they're delivering and everything. And if something doesn't deliver or like on time, right, who's the one who's questioned first? The product manager. Hey, you promised us that this would be done in quarter 2. Well, now where is this? Oh, yeah, the technical implementation was harder. Why? Well,
Yeah,
the architects, they set up a
yeah.
because they needed more time to
People
do it. I
people
mean,
really need to understand that, and this is one of the traits of us as product managers, where we make sure to put everyone in the loop about everything. Um, I don't wait for us to be almost late for a certain release to tell them, well, the POC proved that we need more time to build that. I have weekly meeting with the stakeholders. I have weekly meeting with the developers to keep them in the loop what the stakeholders said. And I make sure that everyone is aligned in a way that the developers know what they are building, why they are building it, how the user, how we learned. Like, I had the dream team for the past 2 3 years in different phases because people were changing in the team, where developers started asking me how this is going to benefit the user. Can you imagine a developer who usually
damn.
only hopes to finish this specific task to put it in the review section so he says he did his job for the day? You ask them to do something. I start by telling them the user story, then we break it down together, what tasks we need under it, and technically what they need to do about each task. And they start saying, okay, but how did you discover that those users need that? Based on what? What's the research you have? And they started arguing with me as product managers, and I was so proud of them. And for me, the best performing team is when the whole team thinks like a product manager. First of all, they make my job easier, a lot easier, because I don't have to explain every detail of the user story. Now, I tell them, they understand the customer, they fill in the gaps, they validate that with me, and we have a discussion about how we can build this the best way. Sometimes they came back to me saying, if you want to achieve this goal, there's a faster way technically that we can do that. Or if we do that, we can easily add it to those other sections and enhance the experience for multiple personas, not only for one personas or in multiple journeys. And
Mm,
for me, this was like the best times of me being a product manager on a project, where everyone thinks like a product. Even the stakeholders started thinking like product managers. Like,
mm,
early in that specific project, the C-level people and the directors used to go to conferences, and they used to go to meetups with other C-level people in parallel industries, and they used to come back with lots of ideas, and they want to build them now. I used to like start probing with them. How does that benefit us? Why we need to build it now? In your opinion, we're now trying to reach that target. This is our goals for the next 3 months. How would that benefit in those goals? And this is the number of backlog points that we can burn in that amount of time. Which ones are you willing to remove from this current roadmap to put that instead? After a while, they started coming to me and saying, well, we've had this interesting discussion. Let's see where we can put it in the backlog, where we can put it in the roadmap, and if we will put it in the roadmap. So the way of addressing issues changed, and you have to put yourself in their shoes. Like,
mm,
probably Wednesday, Thursday, they had this meeting. They went throughout the weekend brewing it in their heads, and we came to our weekly meetup Monday or Tuesday, and they have been thinking about it for the past 5 days. It's really hard for them telling you that, and you, because you know exactly where the product stands, telling them, no, that's not going to happen. And for them, they need very high emotional intelligence to be able to swallow that pill. But if they have the product mindset, in those 5 days, they are thinking from the same loop that you are thinking of. And they are saying, probably Like I can tell them for sure if this is not the right time to build that to a high certainty. For them, they came probably this is not the right time to do that because I don't see how this benefits our current goals. But probably if we can put it in the next cycle to so it made my job, it made all my discussions much, much, much easier because everyone now is at a certain extent a product manager. They are thinking in terms of product. They are understanding the goals, they are understanding what we're trying to achieve, the problem we're trying to solve, and everyone is almost perfectly aligned. And each
Mm.
one is in its own sector. So for me, this was the easiest time to be a product manager, and this was the best time to be a product manager because you don't need to defend every single aspect of the decision you're making. And if something goes wrong, like if we took a bad assumption, it's the whole team that took this assumption. It's not only one person who took this assumption and it's one person to blame. And this was really a good time to be a product manager.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that becomes interesting, right? Like, I mean, those teams actually understand even more the value of a product manager, because then um, they get empowered as well if they want to take decisions against the team which is not, which is just like doing the job. Like, hey, you know what? This is the story I got from the PM. I do it. I don't think of it. I just get it done, do the unit test and so on, and I mean, I did my job, right?
Yeah.
And never questions, right? So this reminded me one of the first times I was like, I had this sort of one person. He was a very nice. He was a good developer, but an even better architect. So the way he
Hmm.
thought, and we were sitting, and it was like I was very new to product, right? So he said, Majid, can I see how the customer uses the product? I was like, I don't know. It's because I have not seen the team use the product, because I was too in discovery with them, but I never saw them physically use the product. So we had meetings, we had different things, we showed them demos, everything. If they had a bug, they would record like a video and send it to us. But he said, I want to see them in person using the software. I was like, okay, yeah, I can ask, I can ask them. So I talked to the
Hmm.
customer. They said yes, but we can only let you for like 30 minutes, 30 minutes maximum 1 hour because of the data, and so on. So he was like, I don't care about like the data. I just need to see how they use the system because we had a very weird request. They were complaining that they are struggling with our system. It takes them more
Hmm.
time. Instead of reducing the time, I mean, our APIs and everything was faster. So the backend was faster, but they were complaining about the front. And me, him, and then two more people went, and we did like a discovery workshop, small, and then we said, you know what, just use the system. I would be sitting and doing my work, just observing how they're using it. We were surprised. Our assumption that they were using a mouse was so horribly wrong.
Okay.
On a web product, they did not use a mouse.
They use the touch screen.
Their touch screen or sometimes the keyboard.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
immediately the architect was like, okay, now I know the problem.
Yeah.
Why are they
We,
complaining?
I had a similar story, and I want to come back to the previous point afterwards about what's our duty as product managers also. But I have a similar story in the last product that we built, Soul Hive, and this is by far the best product I have ever built. We made sure that our system is responsive from the 10-inch screen to 32, 40-inch screens. And still, we were getting requests and problems that some people are not seeing the main menu, some people are not seeing the side menu, the buttons at the bottom, they need to scroll down to get them. And I have all kinds of devices, Windows and Android and Mac in front of me, and the team has that. And we didn't have a QA team because we were still a small team of 10, 12 people. And we couldn't see any case. And we were playing with this inspect tool to make sure that all the sizes. And whenever our team went on the ground in Africa and they did for university students kind of a seminar. and they asked them to start using the platform, they came back to me saying, Richard, they are using probably 6, 7, 8 years old laptops. And the definition of their screen is much smaller than any definition of a screen that you are using or that the inspect tool is using. That's why it's appearing really big. And
Mm-hmm.
we had to find a turnaround for that. We had to let them we had to identify the machine they are working to see what kind of view we let them view. And we said that we put a kind of a tooltip saying for the best experience, you need to have this or more resolution on your screens. And we, as you said, we understand the root cause of why this is happening, and we couldn't find a solution for it before seeing the client, the customer, or the user in our own
Mm-hmm.
eyes. But going back to the traits of a product manager, I'm not saying that it's always the fault of other people. Like the team becomes this ultimate product team whenever he sees you, whenever you make a mistake, you say, guys, I made a mistake here. Let us adjust course, and I take full responsibility of it. And sometimes, towards the stakeholders, even if the team made the mistake, sometimes you go and say, we made a mistake. Not that developer was late, this is why we were late. Whenever they see that you are protecting them in front of the stakeholders, and the stakeholders, whenever they see that with you the team is comfortable, they are backing you up with the decisions you're making. There are some teams where they have loose ends, where um, you see backstabbing, you see conflict between developers, they don't help each other. So the stakeholders feel that it's your responsibility to make sure that this synergy is available. And this becomes available whenever you um, tell them frankly and transparently whatever is happening on the other end. You make sure that whenever you make a mistake, you tell them, guys, here, uh, probably I wasn't attentive, or I took the wrong assumption. I didn't take this into consideration, and here we are. We need to redo that. And whenever they are easily able to give you feedback on yourself, and you have the emotional intelligence to say, to listen to that feedback, not to defend it blindly like that guy that he wants only to ask the questions and he wants to make the decision. Like, I listen to them genuinely and I tell them, on that point, you're right. But if you look at that point, look at this email or look at this story or look where I wrote it. If you want me to write it in a different format, like I always come to them saying, guys, we have this problem. Tell me how you want me to behave the next time for you to understand properly what I'm saying, or to avoid having this risk in the future. For them, this high emotional intelligence lets them feel safe. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
not some lunatic trying to throw everything on them and throw them under the bus at any problem. Like, this guy is protecting us, he's taking feedback from us, he's very transparent with us, and he admits whenever he made a mistake. Even if you don't make a mistake, if they want you to do things differently because this is how they are comfortable doing it, you should be flexible. If this doesn't harm the product, you should be flexible doing that. And they will feel more confident in you and they will support you. In certain cases, I noticed that. So we had the team in Europe. I'm in the middle, and we had teams in Pakistan and India. And I started noticing, like, whenever I'm at 7 p.m. still meeting with the directors, I still see people in India working. And for them, it's probably 10, 11 p.m.
10,
And I
11.
text them, why are you still responding to Slack messages? Why are you still working? It's 10 p.m. on your end. And they say, it's fine. I want to finish this because in the review tomorrow, in the demo tomorrow, I want it to be top notch. So I'm still making sure and testing it and fixing it. And this makes your heart feel a lot bigger. Like they are going multiple extra miles to make the product look good. They are not asking for a salary increase. They are not asking for a day off. They are not asking for extra hours. They are just making sure that their product is working fine. And this
Mhm.
is the ultimate situation where you can reach any product team.
Self-sustainable team, that's a whole game, right? I mean, would love to have always self-sustainable teams. But second, I just also remembered another example on the second thing. You should work with the team, not against the team. Also with the
Of
stakeholders, you
course.
should work with them, not against them, because at the end of the day, the whole everyone, regardless consultants or externals or whoever, you are all working in one umbrella, and the product is something that you're trying to build and sell, right? So if one guy is trying to go to Los Angeles, one guy is trying to go to Beirut, one guy is trying to push the car to I don't know, Islamabad, one guy is trying to go to Sydney. You have one product, the company, and then everyone is trying to push, in opposite
Yeah.
directions, which becomes complicated and which starts causing more friction, right? And I just remembered an example where, like, so normally I had some product managers before who were reporting to me, and I had my door open, like anyone who wants, they can come and talk with me. So a developer came to me, and he was a very, very senior dev. He came to me and said, Majid, I have a problem with your PM. I was like, okay, tell me what's up. So what I used to do is I would never have those discussions in the office. I would actually say, let's go outside for a coffee. So like no one can even listen to it. So he said, Majid, she creates good user stories, but they are in a very weird format. I was like, okay, did you talk to her? He was like, yeah, I tried explaining to her, but she is trying to improve. I see she is. It's not that like she's not, but I wanted to bring it to you because I think you can help her. I was like, okay, let me see then. I'll be like, can you send me like a story where you didn't understand what she's doing? Like you didn't understand, and what was the problem? He sent me a story, and then I read the story. For me as a PM, the story was excellent. It
Hmm.
was excellent. Not gonna lie, it was like a really, really nicely, like a poem. As a user, I would like the because and it was like a perfect orchestra. But I sat down and I started thinking, and I was like, yeah, for them it will not make sense because they don't understand. Like, for example, as an astronaut, I would like to go to the moon because it looks cool.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story, right? It has a who, it has a why, and it has a what. It has everything that a good user story should cover. So I called in the PM. I was like, look, I want to talk to you. I was like, you write really good stories, but the thing is, that's not the real you. People came to me and said to me, look, whenever they sit down with you in person, your explanation is freaking amazing. It's a million times better than your user story.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you're trying to follow frameworks very, very rigidly. You're trying to be like, no, I want to follow this user story framework. I say, why? She was like, yeah, because it's the standard, right? I'm like, no, it's not. And the thing is, you need to understand, the standard is what you guys build amongst yourselves.
Yeah. This is why
And
it's
this
called agile. This is why it's called
exactly.
agile. Like you
And
can make it work whatever you want as long as it delivers.
yeah, and this is what I told her, right? I said, exactly, like, you need to figure out what works for you. I said, I can tell you one thing. I have not implemented the same Scrum implementation in different companies because the people were different, the stakeholders were
Hmm.
different, the expectations were different. So I had to always adapt how I would adapt Scrum, right? I was like, when this sprint finishes, do like a week, sort of like a week where you connect with your team more and set up
Hmm.
some policies and some things where listen to them how they want the stories to be. Now fast forward, after it took them like I was moderating some workshops to help them. It was like a funny, and it was like also like tense moments, right? But they got rid of that format. Like,
Okay.
the user stories became just a paragraph of text, like what is expected, like how she actually explained in person. And the team was very happy, and they agreed upon it, in the workshop, that this is how we
Yeah.
want, like this is how we want the stories to be. And I think this connects with what you said, that the teams need to connect, the whole agile thing. Like, the A in agile for me stands for adaptability. So you also, as a PM or product leader, need to be able to adapt
Yeah.
to the people, to the company, to the culture, and all of this connects, right? Because we're also coming towards an end, would love to understand from you in an sort of an elevator pitch, who is an ideal customer for you, like ideal customer profile, how can you help, and sort of like a call to action, like for example, you mentioned a few times about like they can book like a meeting or something from there. So stage is all yours.
Thank you. So anyone can start building, can have a tech product idea and they need to start building it. They can be a 70-year-old retired person, or they can be just a graduate that wants to start his business. But our ideal customer are enterprises who, because these are the people we are able to give the maximum value for, that want to digitize an existing service or product, or that want to add one new product to their line. Why we are able to give them the maximum value? Because those enterprises, whenever they want to, they have a director has an idea and he wants to start working with it, they need 3 to 6 months to hire a good PM, and they need to pay him a salary, they need to get him on board, they need for him to wait until he leaves his previous job to get onboarded. And then he starts working on the idea for a couple of months, and there is the risk that this idea doesn't pick up. But he's already employed. Until they know that this idea is not picking up, his probation period already ended. He's a full-time employee. And now if they either need to repurpose that employee, or they need to let him go with a package. And this is bad for the employee and for the company. So what we are able to offer them is that whenever they have an idea, we're able to jump on board within 1 2 weeks, start giving them value. They are getting a senior team with more than 30 years of experience in product management and building startups and products for the price of a mid-career person. And if the idea doesn't pick up, they can easily tell us, guys, and we tell them, guys, this idea is not worth proceeding with it, so we advise you to stop working on it. And we just stop working. They don't need to give us any package, they don't need to give us notice period, they don't need to give us anything. Just by the next billing cycle, they need to give us 1 week notice saying, guys, we're not going to renew, and that's it. And if the idea picks up and they want to have an internal hire, we are able to help them while keeping the product growing, to help them hire someone to onboard that person and train them. And sometimes some companies ask us to, because he's a mid-career person or he's someone with 5 plus 7 plus years of experience, they ask us to have a 2 hours per week catch-up call with them to make sure that everything is aligned and they are still going, like, to support their decisions, to verify everything. This is why we have this 10 hours per month package, where this is practically 1 or 2 hours of meeting every week, where we make sure that everything is going fine. And if there is a problem, we just, like one customer called us the product SWAT team, we just jump on board, roll up our sleeves, and we help them. Whenever this is resolved, we take a step back and we move forward. Our ICP are enterprises and SMBs who are building internal tools, not internal tools, who are building new digital tools for their customers and services. And this is how we can help them benefit. We can help them start their idea on the spot, reduce the risk of a bad hire or a hire that they need to let go if the idea doesn't pick up, and we allow them to, we help them onboard their internal product manager whenever things pick up, for the fraction of the cost of an employee.
And the best part is it becomes fair also to the employee, because a lot of companies, this is like a mistake I always see companies do. They end up hiring, they spend the whole cycle, talent acquisition, got the person, 3 months notice served, then the person starts, and then they release the product, and guess what? It fails. Who loses the job? The dev team and the PM. Gone.
Yeah.
They don't understand that, this, the cost of the whole thing. And now this PM, even though he was a brilliant PM or she was a brilliant PM, they had a good job, you made them, like, gave them a good offer and they accepted. Now they are in a position where now they need to look for a job again. Okay?
Yeah.
So And it, like, getting someone interim, it's such a smart move. Like, one, if your go to market with an internal product manager and internal team is like 6 months, you can automatically reduce it to like 3 months, plus if it kicks off, good for you, and then you already have someone taking care of a lot of things. So when you get a new PM, because it's not like, if something kicks off month 5, hallelujah, you have someone, like suddenly you have someone waiting, knocking on the door. Oh yeah, I'm a PM, I can start tomorrow. It doesn't work like this. You have a whole
Yeah.
cycle that goes through, right? So, and when this person starts, the interim can already onboard this new PM. But cool, 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 cool. Oh, that was good. That was good. So, one final question before we close. Any funny story that you are happy to share? You can hide the name of the client, not a problem, but something you laugh about.
I can relate to something that's happening frequently now with new clients and with ChatGPT that anyone can have access to now. There's a lot of clients that are coming to me saying, well, we have done our market research. We know exactly what we want to build. We want you to just hire a team and start building that for us. And I tell them, all right, let's have this 40 minutes call. And I ask them tons of questions and they don't have the answer for. And I tell them, share with me your market research. And you open the market research and you look at it. It's a 5-6 pages market research where they have used the deep research feature, and half of the links you click are not working, and there's a lot of gaps. They did not take into consideration the market they are in. They did not take the consideration the type of user and so forth. And I tell them, guys, do you really want to build this based on that research? Let me tell you one thing. We will do our market research for free. That is usually costing $2,000-3,000. We will do it for free and we will present it to you. If it's better than this research and it convinces you, it's $3,000. And if it's not better, let's throw it in the garbage and take this research to a developer directly, because apparently you don't need a product manager. You've done everything yourself. Take it directly to a developer and build that if you don't like our market research. And 9 times out of 10, you see an aha moment whenever you present to them how a market research should look like. And you tell them, we also used LLMs. We also used ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude to come up with this, and Perplexity. But what we do, we know exactly how to prompt them. We know how to validate the results. And by looking at it, we know if this market research is holistic and it took care of all the aspects of your business. And sometimes we prompt it further, saying, make sure it's within this market, make sure you think of this aspect. So we argue with the LLM. It's not just one prompt, 2 3 lines, and we get this. I get the LLMs to interview me and ask me how to fill in their gaps in the information in order to give me a very perfect market research. And you still see people that think that like some aspects of jobs are going to disappear, like you product managers, we don't need you anymore. Like we can ask ChatGPT. Yes, go ahead and do that. I'm very confident that working as a product manager with LLMs makes me 5 to 10 times more effective and more accurate, to the point that I'm confident it's not going to take my job. I'm building an AI product manager at this moment. I'm working on an AI product manager, and I will put it on my website. People can come and use it for $10 to $15 a month. We still did not put the packages in place, and still they would still need to come back to me because, as I told you, it's not science. There's experience, there's gut feeling, there's perception of things that you need to put as a product manager into the whole equation to make things work. That's why you have exactly the same business with different people. They have the same years of experience, but you get different results. Why? It's the team experience, it's the product manager's perception, it's the way they choose to take the product forward that makes the
Mm.
difference.
LLMs are huge encyclopedias, huge collection of data. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to get exactly what you're looking for,
Exactly.
I mean, sorry, but the whole garbage in, garbage out, right? So imagine me start asking ChatGPT or any LLM about acquisition of or buying a property in Lebanon.
Hmm.
Probably I would come up with some. I mean, it might give me some basic idea if it's even possible. Yes, no, but doing more research, what are the steps and so on, and which offices
Hmm.
I need to visit would be a horrible idea. I mean, I can do that, but of course, if I
Yeah.
sit down with the expert, like from the industry, for them it's normal. They're doing it day to day, so they
Yeah.
can like this tell me. But if I use an LLM, it will come up with a weird list. What you mentioned, there's another thing. Like I remember I was talking with a friend of mine. He said, Majid, now the new people who come to us, so he runs a software agency development and so on, not a product manager, but he's like, every customer now who reaches out to us is 100 million ARR. Every customer who comes to us, yeah, we have $100 million idea, can you build this for us? And he's like, he's been running the software for like 2013, so 12 years now. And he said, "Majid, I don't understand how I've been running this business for 12 years. I still don't make 100 million, So how do these guys come up with? And then he started asking, hey, can you show me, like, how did you come up? And whenever you do deep research, there's like a logo on the left corner or the right corner or wherever, chat GPT. And then that's always there, like how to build a SaaS product in 90 days and have an ARR
Yeah.
of over 10 million. And it comes up with the weirdest things. You know what? You should market the product. I mean, I built a product. Cool. Wow, that's
It
rocket
always
science, right?
gives you confidence, whatever you do. Like, this is the greatest question ever.
Yeah, yeah, true. I mean, maybe they should rename ChatGPT or these to like the best motivator or something. The aunt who motivates
you
you.
you can write in the main instructions of ChatGPT that don't patronize me, don't approve anything I say, be skeptical of whatever I tell you if it's not backed by proper argument or proper research, and you start getting better advice from ChatGPT.
True, true.
Um, I believe that the prompting really plays a big effect,
Yeah,
and having the right context and the right persona and so forth, is what matters in terms of answers. But you still see those people, like he's a doctor, he wants to build some kind of solution for transportation, like they are not related. And he writes, I want to build an Uber application for the school buses in, I don't know, in Lebanon, and give me how good is that idea and tell me if it's feasible and tell me if I will make money out of it. Wow, this is the most brilliant idea I have ever seen. Ta da ta da ta da. Let me tell you how it works. And the guy is doomed because practically it's predicting the next word. This is how LLM worked, by predicting the next highest certainty word. And they just gave him rubbish. And he's taking that to a developer, and the development house, they sell development hours, and tells them, wow, you really got something here. Let me tell you, let's add to it, let's add more to the scope. And the guy end up paying 50K, 100K, and he has something that is not usable, not marketable, not viable.
we can go on with these funny stories now, especially with also ChatGPT, like, and also LLMs, right? So you can have the funniest things happening all the time. But I would like to say thank you, because this was extremely interesting and fun to have a conversation with you. And I think you were the first guest I had from actually Lebanon. So yay! Uh, thank you, Richard, for joining us today. Do you have any final things you would like to say as a concluding remark?
Thank you for having me, Majid. I wish the best for you and your show. It was a really interesting conversation, especially that you have a background in product as well. Hopefully, things will calm down internationally, because this is how we started our conversation, and the whole world is more relaxed, at least end of 2025, beginning 2026.
Yes, thank you again. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in this week. To the executives, if you found this episode valuable or want to connect with Richard, learn what he does, the links would be mentioned in the description down. And if you have questions, just add him up on LinkedIn. He is super nice and super responsive. So just connect with him. And with that, I would like to say this is your host, Majid, signing off.